search for directions, my thoughts reflecting.
Hello everybody, it's Oliver and I again here on the Big Bass Streams channel. I will be your host on today's episode of Mail Call. Hope you guys aren't tired of me yet. It's been non-stop on the content creation side for me personally. Been quarantined here at home and just trying to do my part and stay home and stay safe and just bide my time and prepare for the next fishing adventure. But in the meantime, it's giving me a chance to catch up on organizing tackle and gear and camera equipment, and most importantly, tackle. So today we've got another shipment here from my man Ben at the Hookup Tackle, and it ties in directly with some of the stuff that you guys may have seen glimpses of through our mini series on Clear Lake. And we should be on episode 6 or 7 by the time you guys watch this. One of those episodes features some pretty big key fish catches on this bad boy right here. And those of you guys that own one of these are familiar with the box. But this is a nice little restock on the exact color I-Slide 262T that we are catching fish on up there at Clear Lake. So I'm going to talk about why I like this color for that scenario. Definitely needed a restock on the Okaiwa color. Now, first thing you guys will notice is this super dope box that the I-Slides come in, designed by the man and the legend himself, Mr. Yuki Ito. And yes, people, he was inspired by the tarpon when they designed this bait. So its whole face, head structure was purposely built around the magnificent tarpon, of which I've only seen one time with my own eyes in the wild, and that was way inland in the Siripiki River in Costa Rica. We didn't get a chance to go fishing after those, but here we are. 262 tail, comes separately. Check that out. What a thing of beauty. I mean, you gotta appreciate the artistry and the presentation and the thought process that goes into Japanese fishing culture. Okay, and as I said before, this is the Okaiwa color. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that name, as I am not Japanese, nor do I have a slight hint of how to speak it. But it's a beautiful coloration. It's one that I find myself tying on in multiple scenarios. It's got that translucent ABS body, right? So you hold it up into the sky, and it's got a level of transparency to it. So it makes it probably one of the more versatile colors in the entire I-Slide lineup. And then you got multiple things going on. You've got that golden greenish top of the tarpon color. You've got a nice scale pattern. Those kind of lateral line par marks and a turquoise greenish blue hint. And then you got that kind of reddish pink base right there on the belly with a pearl underbelly. Really, really effective color. I like it pretty much all the time. This is one of the top 2 colors that I reach for when the BBD carp isn't available. And it's not available, so this is a bait that I find myself reaching for all the time. Okay, so those of you guys that have not had the pleasure of owning one of these baits, you'll open this bad boy up and there's an insert there. Obviously this is the I-Slide 262T, but I love the subtle messages that come with so many of these products. More than just big. Like, let that sink in for a little bit, because that's important. That matters. Anybody can make a big hunk of plastic or wood or whatever the material that some of these big baits are made out of, but what goes into them? Are they anything more than just big? This is a very complex, effective bait for me, as you guys have seen. And if you guys are new to the channel here, new to my personal channel, of which you should be subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed to my personal channel as well, turn your notifications on, because I will be doing some green room deep dive videos on some of this clear lake footage with this bait in particular. But you've got an insert here with some basic mechanics and instructions, everything from hook setting to setting the tail, as far as like where to position your hooks, because some of you guys may mistakenly think that the hooks do not come in the box. They're actually just hidden inside inside the compartment here. And you'll notice there's actually two sizes to the hooks. These are pretty beefy, almost saltwater style hooks. If I were to guess what they were, I'd say they're close to owner ST66s. So those of you guys that may need replacement hooks on some of your baits from just catching too many fish, I'm gonna guess that's probably a 1.0 on the back, or a 1, and a 2.0 up front. All right, and it does matter where you guys position the hooks. What you guys will notice here is that out of the box, these hooks come on double split rings. Well, why is that important? Okay, that's an old trick to maximize your landing ratio, because with just one split ring, if you're fishing for target species like striped bass or muskies that tend to like gator roll, what happens is if you only have one split ring and that fish is trying to rotate, like it'll lock up way quicker with just one ring, and they'll be able to leverage that big heavy bait and rip those hooks right out of their face. Well, now you have two split rings, and now that range of motion is just a little bit more. So that's gonna play your percentages up in your favor. Okay, so we're gonna take a good set of split ring pliers, and that is something that I see not enough people carry around. But you can make this blood-free, poke-free, and a lot less frustrating. Just a good set of pliers. Big hook up front, smaller hook in the back. That's going to be perfectly balanced to fish this bait effectively. And if you pay attention to the instructions, you notice that the pointed end is going to go up. Okay, and here's a little trick. Basic knowledge there. A little lubrication will help slide that into place real easily. What you want to do is use one hand and a thumb to push it up into the slot, and then use your other hand to kind of pull it up, and you'll feel it kind of like snap into place. See how it's flush there? Really key. If you don't have that tail perfectly straight and seated perfectly on any glide bait, it's just not going to perform well. And I've had several people mention to me that, man, I can't get my I-Slide to swim right. And that's a interesting question to me, because I've fished a bunch of these, and the consistency of these baits out of the factory is very high. They pretty much all swim the same. I think the mistake that people are having is they're taking this bait and they're utilizing only the reel to incorporate action. And when you do that and you're just doing the straight wind stuff, and if you guys go back into like episode 2 or 3 of the green room, you'll see where I talk about cadence and rhythm and articulating action into your glide baits. Well, this is definitely the case with the I-Slide. Okay, if you just straight wind it, it's gonna have a very subtle, small glide to it. Now, there's gonna be times, let's say cold water, inactivity, where that might be the deal in triggering bites. But if you guys have seen enough of the videos that we posted to the Big Bass Streams channel, especially over the years, you'll notice I fish this thing very erratically. And once you become familiar with how to articulate action into this lure, it can be dynamite. I have a lot of fun with it throughout my travels. I've caught fish on the East Coast, in Jersey on this thing. I've caught them in Texas, obviously, Missouri. God, muskies love this thing. Everything eats this thing. Okay, California, obviously. Stay tuned to this channel for a full technical breakdown on how exactly I like to fish this thing. But for now, we're gonna kind of just keep it limited to this male call. We only have so much time in the day, right? So there's that Okaiwa color. And thankfully, I don't really lose swim baits very often. The only time I really need to replace baits is when I make a haphazard cast. One of the OG swim bait makers once criticized me for my casting ability because I used to send him so many broken baits. So shout out to my mans for checking me, and you know, he brought up a valid point. I needed to be better. But once in a while we'll put a bait up on a dock or on a rock pile or too close to a tree or a lay down, and I'll bust baits. It's just part of the game. So I've got a backup for my main bait, but I also still have a backup for my backup because I did have a spare one on hand. So I always keep a couple backups for each scenario. You know, you find yourself on the road or in a remote location, like even when we're at Clear Lake, like none of the stores carry this thing. So I can't just like walk up to Sandy's at Lakeport Bait and Tackle and pick up a replacement I-Slide. So I got to carry everything that I need with me at all times. So that dictates my ordering style. And then while I'm at it, I had to order some 185 I-Slides. And if you guys are new to big bait fishing, new to glide bait fishing, this is a great entry level big bait for you to explore, learning the mechanics with, and gain confidence through experience with. I'll link a video going back to a conversation with my man Mark Neflas, and you can see firsthand like the whole thought process and learning curve that we all as fishermen have to go through. And you're going to get so much more engagement, so many more bites, so many more learning opportunities on a smaller version of the truly big baits. And mind you, these are two completely different baits, right? That's supposedly the same color, right? But even then, it's a different spin. This doesn't have the transparency that the 262 has. Still a great color for many of the same reasons I listed previously. So I've got a backup for their Okaiwa color. These are slow sinking glide baits, all right? And this is another great color that we have a lot of success with. Okay, that's the Hasu. Just a general baitfish imitator. We've done well on this thing everywhere. I'll link a video that takes us back to Central Texas. Here, wide. Straight. Hard. Right to the net, baby. Up. Yes! Woo!
Oh my God!
My man Keegan catches a good one out of a tree. Okay, and then another really good color that I like is the Iwana. Now this is a version of probably a Japanese style trout, but kind of green, got the par marks. I've done well on places like in the Motherlode region on this bait, and this is a bait that I probably articulate more with the reel, with a little bit of action in English put into the rod as well. But we'll do a whole separate breakdown video, whole separate green room video on just the I-Slide 185. I've also gotten some requests to do a breakdown video on the I-Slide 135, and that's a bait that I honestly don't put enough time in with. So lots of stuff coming to the channel, guys, so make sure you guys are subscribed here at Big Bass Streams so you don't miss any of it. And then while I'm at it, I also get a lot of messages about, hey man, where do I find spare tails? Well, you can find them from my man Ben at the Hookup Tackle. We'll leave links in the description below for all of that, but they come in different colors. That's a smoke color. What else we got here? Yep, that's smoke I-Slide 185s, and also 262 tails are available as well. So contact Ben at the Hookup if you do need some replacement tails. Now this is one of those scenarios where an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So when I'm storing my baits and I'm not fishing my baits, I make I make sure I don't leave the tails on the baits, especially even on a somewhat warm day like today. Like if you don't pay attention to your bait and you're even storing it on the deck of your boat and there's like rods sitting on it, like that plastic will warp. And once you warp it, you can probably fix it with some hot boiling water and trying to set it back into place. But just be smarter about it. Manage your tails, okay? And my man Matt 210, one of my good friends out of the Mass area, actually showed me this little life hack. And all this is a AA, AAA battery case that you can buy off of Amazon for real cheap. But it fits an I-Slide 262 tail perfectly. So that thing will never warp in there. So I throw that in my tackle box, and I don't put the tails on the baits until I'm actually ready to fish. And I go through a lot less tails. And once you get good at it, man, it pops right into place. Just like that. Yeah, not bad. I didn't even mess that one up. All right, so there's another little life hack for you guys. All right, and there's something else I want to kind of show you guys. In the past, I just store these things kind of loose and in these big single compartment deep boxes, right? Relatively efficient. It's worked for me for years, but you know, I crack boxes and such, waiting on some upgraded Bass Mafia boxes. But in the meantime, I've actually come across another solution from the Bassmaster Classic Expo this past spring. And I met the team from Wraptor. They make these hand-built lure wraps here. And as you can see, they actually hold some of these bigger baits. I believe they designed this one for muskies really well. And I've got them two to a slot for the most part. But it keeps them from banging on each other because as you see, some of the baits that I've been fishing have already quite a bit of rash. They're going to be a little bit more protected in this case. All right, and I can just take my new bait. Where did I put that thing? Oh, there we go. I put it back in this box. Okay, I'm going to take my new bait here, and it's just going to slide right in here with his buddy. And this is actually the bait that I was catching those fish on at Clear Lake. You can actually see like some of the teeth marks on there. But here's his backup in case I need it. And you notice, like, man, this one's gone through the ringer. I've caught several good fish on this thing. And if you guys haven't, gosh, look at those teeth marks. Look at that. That's so dope. I mean, what do you guys prefer? Having a brand new, untouched, unscathed, beautiful work of art, or like a battle-tested, been through the ringer, memory-evoking warrior of a lure? Good grief, man. Look at those marks. Like, those are bass teeth marks. That's so sick. I'm going to vote for this one every time. All right, but yeah, this thing is pretty cool. I've been pleasantly surprised how easy it is to manage. All right, boom, drops into place here. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 I-Slide 262s in here, and I could probably throw 2 or 3 more. I might even be able to triple up. But this is a pretty sweet bag. Rolls up. It's got that Velcro attachment. There's no extra straps. And then it's easy to access, easy to store. You know, that goes right in here. So got my Bass Mafia bag here with all my mag drafts. Kind of same concept. I can just reach in my compartment and pull out what I need. So what do you guys think of that product? We've been exploring maybe doing some Big Bass Dreams branded Wraptors for the big bait guys, because we've been getting some of those requests too. So if you think that's something we should pursue, hit me up, let me know. So far I've been impressed. We're going to definitely put it through the ringer once our season gets started. I think that's something that could come into play throughout our travels for how easily that thing packs. And yeah, anyways, just like that, we've got another video down for you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Once again, I'm Oliver Nye. If you're new to this channel, welcome. subscribe to Big Bass Streams, subscribe to my personal channel. We've got a ton of content coming. Fish catches, tackle breakdowns, mail calls, hopefully some more podcast stuff once I can figure out how to get some of these legends in my world to sit down and just have a conversation with me, and you guys can join in on it. All right, so appreciate you guys. Stay safe, stay home. We'll catch you guys soon enough. I'm Oliver Nye. Peace out.
In search for directions, my thoughts reflecting.